Hey everybody, it's Rob with Cherry City Woodworks, and we're past Christmas now. We had a lot of stuff going on right after Christmas. I also need a little bit of break because I did so much stuff for Christmas this year out here in my workshop. Also, it was getting really cold. We were down in the teens. And I actually spent all last weekend plowing the interstate. So I've been really busy, and along with some other personal stuff that's been going on, trying to get back out to the workshop has been quite challenging. But break's over. It's time to get back into the swing of things. And today I'm going to do the first of two bowls that I'm going to do for a couple of pretty awesome people. They're both going to be made out of Maple Burl. This is a really neat piece of Maple Burl. I just cut it on the chop saw, knocked the biggest corners off, get it as close to round as possible. This is going to make about an 8.5 inch diameter bowl, and it's about 3 inches thick. I'm not sure how everything's going to go on this because Maple Burl is very interesting. Anytime you're dealing with burls, there's all kinds of stuff that you can come up against. For one, you can see right here, this is a big bark inclusion. I have a feeling we're probably going to lose that, and that's fine. I don't mind making maple burls that have holes in them, divots, all kinds of stuff. You just never know what you're going to get. Here's another big bark inclusion, and it kind of comes out the side. We're probably going to lose that. But that might actually turn out naturally just because of the shape of the bowl. What I'm very curious about is if this is going to be solid enough to use my vacuum chuck. I've never used my vacuum chuck, and I'm really hoping today will be our first time to use the vacuum chuck. I think it's going to be really neat. It'll make it really nice for finishing the bottoms of bowls. But this is as a gift, as a thank you for somebody who really did a lot for me and my wife here recently. I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty details, but this is a gift for somebody who's pretty special. And both these they're for two different people. So I'll show the other one when I'm done with it, but let's get this bowl turned. I've already got center marked. I'm gonna go ahead and attach the faceplate and we'll get to turning. All right, the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get this faceplate attached. This is how we're gonna put the bowl on the lathe. Got a little center mark there. I'm just gonna eyeball it. And you always want to put your faceplate in the top of the bowl because as you can see, I'm using screws to attach this faceplate. You want it in the top so that way when you hollow out your bowl, you turn out these holes that are made by putting the screws in here. Alrighty. Now this just goes on the lathe like this. That is on there nice and secure. We're going to get this as close as we can without hitting. That is our tool rest. We throw on my PPE. I'm going to try to explain as much of what I'm doing as I'm doing it. Just be aware that as I'm putting on my face mask and my face shield, it's going to make me sound kind of muffled. But it's important for me to protect myself. Let's go ahead and move you in here a little bit closer. All right. Typically, I like to turn it up until it starts to vibrate. And that's what tells me when how fast you can go with how out of balance it is. Then we're going to go ahead and get it round. And once it's round, it'll be much more in balance. And we should be able to turn it up faster. Alrighty, I think we're pretty well around. The trick to find out is from the back of your tool on it. It's nice and smooth year round. If you hear any bumps, it's because you got a flat spot. Might have a couple little flat spots. Let's take a look. Nope. That is pretty round. You can see we've got a bark inclusion there,
Got a couple little wormholes, more bark inclusions. This piece really does have a lot of little bark inclusions, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's what kind of gives Maple Burl, or Burl in general, a lot of the character that I really enjoy, actually. I like all the imperfections. Kind of makes it what it is. Move the camera a little further out so I have a little more working room. I'm going to start to knock the bottom off this bowl. Knock the corners off, all that kind of stuff. Alright, now we're going to mark out for our tenon. So, the reason for the tenon is so that we can mount this in our 4-jaw chuck. That's deep enough tenon. Alright, one very important thing when shaping your tenon, this is going into a set of dovetail jaws. You actually have to make your dovetail, or your tenon, fit the angle of your dovetail jaws. So that means at the top, where it meets up with the bottom of the bowl, it's slightly smaller diameter than the outside. The easiest tool for that is the skew chisel. So this transition right here, that's going to be the part of the bowl that actually rests on the counter or wherever it is. That's going to be the outer edge. Once we finish the bottom, this whole area, the tenon will be gone, and inside of this line, from here in, will just be ever so slightly concave. So this is the lowest point on the bowl, so that's where it'll rest. Not sure how we'll address all these little bug holes. Not that you can really see what I'm talking about right now. Look at this right here. You see we've got a lot of little bug holes here, like literal bug holes. We're definitely going to lose this piece of bark. It's already starting to come a little bit loose. But that's one of the joys and frustrations of working with burl. It can be a pain in the butt, but in the long run, it is what I really, really love to do. So we're just going to go with it. This is my one of my negative rake scrapers. Typically, I don't use these until I've pretty much got the design established. Because really all I use these for is for very light finishing cuts. And because I hate sanding. And these are really good about leaving a very smooth finish. It typically does not require a lot of sanding. They work really good at a higher RPM too. Alrighty, so next move is to put it in our 4-jaw chuck. This is where you'll see the benefit of having this tenon on here. So here's our 4-jaw chuck. These jaws open up here. And that tenon we made goes inside those. And this dovetail chuck can be used on expand or contract. So you can make a tenon like we've made and pinch it on the outside, or you can make what's called a mortise, which is the exact opposite, and put them in expand mode and expand them inside the mortise. There's a lot of reasons why you might do one over the other. Your plan for your design, your bowl. But for me, usually it's more about safety. If I've got really, really solid wood, my preference is to use a mortise. It's easier. It's easier to incorporate into the design of the foot of the bowl, all that kind of stuff. But it's not as secure, especially when you have things like burl that are very, very, very unpredictable. So I have to move my camera around here. You can see we already had some of the bark inclusions fall out. So this can be really interesting to see how this shapes up. Let's see. Alrighty. I think we're going to start off with my round carbide tool. We haven't lost that piece of bark yet, but we're getting very close. You know what? I'm just going to rip it out. So lose it on my own terms. And I knew we were going to have a big old chunk taken out of the side of this bowl. but I mean, it's kind of the look that I like, believe it or not. It's this combination of elegance and rusticness, I guess you could say. For some reason I like it. You take a lot of measurements along the way. So we're only 7/8 of an inch down. We got a long ways to go. Long ways to go. Alright. Still got a ways to go in the hollowing process. I still haven't completely set my bottom like I talked about. But I'm just going to keep chipping away at it. So I actually like my wall thickness. My wall thickness is starting to feel pretty good. My bottom's still just a touch thick, but not bad. We're getting there. This is going to be really cool. I can already tell there's like some blues and stuff that are going to really pop once we throw some finish on here. I think this is going to be a really neat looking finished piece. Let's just see what our bottom thickness is. There's a lot of different tools out there like these here you can use to figure out your wall thickness. So actually we're not bad. That's what our bottom thickness is. It's a little bit over 1/2 inch. I'd like to get it down to at least about 3/8 or so. I'm going to take just a hair more off that bottom. It's getting really, really close. Bottom thickness is just about right. So, sounds to me like it's time for sanding. Alright, we got her all sanded up. So I can take off my mask now so you can hear me better. And what we're going to do is we're going to apply some Watco Danish oil. It should really help some of these colors really pop out here.
Oh yeah. But man, the Danish oil really just brings out incredible colors. All right, we're gonna reset. We're gonna get the vacuum chuck set up, and we're gonna show you how we're gonna mount this onto the vacuum chuck. That's gonna keep everything very, very concentric. All right, to make sure that when we line this up on the vacuum chuck, it is still perfectly concentric, it's still perfectly centered. First thing we have to do is we have to take this piece right here. This mounts in the tailstock. And take our 4-jaw chuck, and oh, forgot. So 4-jaw chuck is a 1" by 8" thread pattern, but my lathe is a 1¼ by 8" thread. So I have this adapter to go from the 1 by 8 to the 1¼ by 8. So we have to take the 4-jaw chuck off of that adapter so it'll mount up to our tailstock chuck mount. All right, bowls mounted to the tailstock. Take our adapter off. We get our vacuum chuck. Let's feed this through. And we screw it on. Connect our vacuum line here. Now, we're gonna get that very close, turn our vacuum on, and we're gonna push this up with the quill until the bowl goes on the vacuum chuck. Now, in theory, like I said, I haven't done this yet. This is my first time. Loosen up the 4-jaw chuck. Back this off of here, and our 4-jaw chuck is no longer holding the bowl. The bowl is being held by the vacuum alone. So, take the 4-jaw chuck off the tailstock adapter. Take our tailstock adapter out. And that feels pretty darn solid. Let's hope. I'm so nervous to do this, and I'm doing it on camera. That's kind of the crazy part. I've never used a vacuum chuck before. But it's first for everything. I'll put my face mask back on. Because to be honest with you, I'm very nervous about this thing flying off and hitting me. Although we are pulling, I mean, that vacuum is really holding it on there. So, in theory, we should be good. There we go. Beautiful. It just comes out that easy. I think that turned out really great. Maybe even shinier once I hit it with some polyurethane, but the colors, the grain, everything on that is super cool. I'll post some pictures of it once it's got its final finish on there. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you learned something from it, or just enjoyed watching the process of making a bowl. Can't get over the color of this thing. It's really, really just incredible. Anyway, hope you guys liked it, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.